This week on Dance of Joy, we talk about creepy banana ladies, Happy Days toilets, and the correct cadence of an audience chant. All that and more as we watch Season 4, Episode 13 of our favorite 80s hit sitcom, Perfect Strangers. Hello and welcome to Dance of Joy, a Perfect Strangers rewatch podcast. My name is Sophia. I am one of your hosts, and joining me today is my co-host and my brother. What's up, Imran?
Hey, Sophia, I'm so excited to be here. I'll take potpourri for 400, please.
This isn't a game show.
I'll take historical capitals for 600. No, that's not how this works?
What was the capital of Constantinople?
No, you got to answer.
Oh, wait.
The
Constantinople was the capital.
The answer is, what is a podcast? No, I'm asking you, what is a podcast? I'm not sure
I don't
clear
know.
on this.
I don't know. Is it something where we talk about shows that are 40 years old?
Is this a podcast? That's the game show. The game show should be, is that a podcast? You just throw out random things.
Is it a podcast? Well, game shows are a very appropriate topic for today because we are watching Perfect Strangers Season 4, Episode 13, titled Games People Play.
Hey, people play games.
People play games.
They do all sorts of things.
Like Games with My Heart.
Oh, that's not a fun game.
That's not a fun game, no.
Games with slime is a lot more fun.
Well, we'll find out how much slime is involved in this episode. If you were to read the TV guide description, it would have said, Larry succumbs to the very temptation he's been cautioning Balky against, greed, as the two compete for money and prizes on the TV game show Risk It All.
Oh, boy, Larry.
Oh, boy, Larry.
Larry, of course, played by Mark Lynn-Baker. Balky, played by Bronson Pinchot. You got quick appearances by Melanie Wilson as Jennifer, Rebecca Arthur as Marianne, Belita Moreno as Lydia, Joe Marie Peyton France as Harriet Winslow. Returning, we get to see Mr. Wainwright, played by F.J. O'Neill, and some other people. We got some game show hosts and some contestants. We'll get to them.
Yes, this episode aired on February 3rd, 1989. Oh, and Perfect Strangers, of course, we should remind everyone, is now streaming for free on IMDb TV, soon to be called Amazon Freevee.
I believe the switch will have occurred by the time this show posts.
Okay, so
you'll see a new thing. It says Amazon Freevee, I guess.
Amazon Freevee.
Or on Amazon Prime. It's also like just right on Amazon Prime Video.
But you don't even need Prime. You just need a regular free Amazon account to watch this beautiful show.
Amazon should start paying us for reminding people every week.
That's true.
I have to reach out to them.
That's true. All right, let's get into it. We start in Act 1, and we're in the basement of the Chronicle, where we often are, and Larry's working away, and then we have Mr. Wainwright, who's the publisher, right? The publisher of the paper, or like the big editor, something.
Yes.
Somebody important at the Chronicle.
Yes.
And Mr. Wainwright, last time we saw him, had been butchering Larry's name, Appleby.
No, that was a different guy that we never saw again.
I think it was Wainwright, too.
No, that
bad.
That was a different editor. It was just a different editor. This guy is higher in charge.
All right.
That's all.
Wainwright knows his name because he says Appleton. And it turns out that he's coming to deliver Larry the news that Marshall and Walpole, how did we call him last time?
Mushmouth and Polval?
Mushmouth and Polval.
Maytag and, what's the other one?
Whirlpool
and Maytag.
Maytag and Whirlpool. Anyway, Marshall and Walpole have recommended Larry for an assignment.
Ooh.
An assignment. He just says an assignment. Larry's all excited because, of course, Marshall and Walpole are the investigative reporting team, and he desperately wants to be part of it.
He is part of the team. That was last episode, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but he was like bringing them sandwiches and stuff.
Well, again, he's got to pay his dues, Larry Appleton.
So Larry's very excited to know that he might have a real assignment coming, and he says, what is it? Political scandal, corruption, drug dealing? In fact, it's none of those. Wainwright tells him that they want him to go on a game show called Risk It All. And Larry's like, oh, interesting. What is it? Payola, the show's fixed. What's the angle? And then Wainwright just says, the angle is Marshall and Walpole don't want to do it.
They're getting Larry to do the
Their
dumb
dirty
stories.
work.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're like, we're not going to go to this thing. Just send.
But it's still an assignment. It's still a real assignment. He says it's for the Sunday supplement, which is a big deal for a newspaper writer.
It's a chance to prove himself.
Yeah. And so Larry's like, all right, I'll do all the research. I'll stay late. I'll find out the history of game shows. Wainwright cuts him off and says, Appleton, you go on the show, you write 2,000 words about what it's like to be a contestant. It's a game show. It's not Watergate. Larry, of course, is making it, as he always does, a much bigger thing than it is.
The biggest story of his life.
It's the biggest opportunity of his life. But really, they just want him to go on this game show and write something about it. And then here's the kicker. So we don't really have like an opening joke this episode.
This is a great, quick setup, though.
Yes, it's a good setup.
There is no opening joke. You're right.
There's no opening joke
here.
here.
They get right to it.
And in fact, most of this episode is light on the wordplay and the jokes that we love so much. There's a couple things, but it's very heavy on physical comedy. So that's where we balance out. Anyway, here's the kicker. Wainwright says you have to be there in 30 minutes from right now.
Jeez. Okay. Short notice. And that's Larry goes. That's awfully short notice, sir.
Wainwright's like, Appleton, this is journalism. Short notice is a thing. And then here's the second kicker. You need a partner to be on the show.
Oh, I wonder who that's going to be.
And you have to be there in 30 minutes.
Okay, so give him 30 minutes and find someone to go with you. Okay.
And by good fortune, Wainwright exits, and who enters is Balky.
Oh, that's good. Because he needs a partner.
Because he needs a partner. And Larry is in a big rush, and he goes, Balky, I need you to be my partner on some stupid game show called Risk It All. And Balky gets very excited. That's my favorite game show. And he gets so excited, he says he's going to call all their friends and tell them to go there and be in the audience. But Larry stops him, and he's like, I'd rather you don't. Larry really doesn't want people there, I guess. I don't know why. This could be his big break. But Balky's very excited because he's very excited to meet the hosts of this show, Bink Warmington. And Kelly Langston. And Larry says, okay, whatever. Just tell me about it in the car. And he's rushing Balky out. And on their way out, Balky says he's read Kelly's book. And the book is titled Kelly Talks to Teens About Hygiene. And he says, there's a great chapter on skincare, how to be a hit in spite of your zits.
There's
our opening joke.
It's cute that this is Balky's. Of course, it's Balky's favorite game show. He watches a lot of TV.
Risk It All.
And then we transition to, you see the outside of a soundstage with the logo of Risk It All. And we're inside a TV studio with a game show currently happening right in front of us. And what is happening is there are two contestants, and one lady seems to have an apple strapped to her head, and the other lady is trying to squirt ketchup bottles to knock off the apple. That's, I believe, what's going on. And they're not successful. And the host, Bink, says, you lost everything. Good try.
And they're covered in messiness.
Oh, they are. Yes, they're covered in all sorts of goo and colorful goo. And here's the thing. You notice during the sequence, they're cutting to the audience. So everybody could say, risk it all.
Yeah.
And who is in the audience? It's hard to miss Marianne, Jennifer, Lydia, and Harriet. What happened? How do they know they're on this game show? They had 30 minutes to get here. He didn't let them use the phone. What's going on?
Well, what's going on is an earlier version of the script had Balky explaining that he stopped at a payphone on the way while Larry was trying on jumpsuits that would make him look taller. Because when we cut to Larry and Balky backstage at this game show, they're in these matching overalls, not overalls, like jumpsuits, workers' jumpsuits.
With the Risk It
All logo on it. But that's all cut from this. So it is very confusing for the audience to be like, wait, I thought he didn't get to call them, and suddenly they're there.
All of a sudden,
and they didn't have cell phones then, so how did they get there?
They just knew that maybe they had tickets for that day, and it was just a coincidence.
So we're backstage. We've seen them, the friends in the audience. We're backstage, and Larry and Balky are in the wings, and these two women who had just lost it all in these in this game walk back, and they're covered in all sorts of stuff in their overalls. And Larry is a little bit shocked. He's like, you didn't tell me about the stunts. Balky, of course, everyone who knows and loves this show knows that it's a show with stunts. And he says, why do you think they put us in jumpsuits as a fashion statement?
He says jumpsuits.
Jumpsuits. And Larry is a little bit distraught by this because he feels like he's going to humiliate himself in front of the entire city of Chicago because everything's a big deal.
Yeah.
So then we go back to the main stage and we hear Bink Warmington say, Kelly, let's introduce our next two contestants. And then we hear Kelly say, Bink, they're two cousins from right here in Chicago, Larry Appleton and Balky Bartakamus. She says, let's welcome them too. And the whole audience goes, risk it all.
You know what bugs me about one thing is the cadence in which the audience chants the name of the show. It's called Risk It All, right? And I would go, Risk it all. That's not what they do.
With a hard T.
That's not what they do. They go, Risk it all. And I'm like,
that's not
who
good.
chants it that way? Why are you chanting it?
It's three words. You got to punch every word. I agree with you.
That just bugged me. Bink Warmington, played by Bob Goen, by the way, and Kelly Langston, played by Jude Musetter, sorry. There's a couple of interesting details, though, about just the set and with the exterior shot you see, going into this.
Yeah.
That's the real soundstage they shoot the show in, Perfect Strangers, right? And the audience in the show is the actual studio audience.
They're walking in
for the filming of the show, which is really funny.
Yeah, so this was not filmed in Chicago, obviously.
No, it is a soundstage
set in California,
Culver City studio.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, then we see the audience again. All the friends are there. They're joining into the incorrectly pronounced "risk it all" chant.
Not how you chant that. What's wrong with you people?
Okay, so Balky, they come out onto the stage. They get introduced. Balky is super excited. He's like a little child. He forgets he's on TV. He is so going out of his mind because he loves this show, and so he runs around there's all these different stunts set up on the set, and he runs around. He says, cousin, it's the wheel of schmutz. It's the wheel of schmutz. Then he runs to another one. Oh, cousin, it's sit on
with
it.
The balloons.
There's
you gotta
these
sit
balloons
on. Yeah.
that you have to sit on. It's sit on it. And Larry's like trying to calm him down, and because Larry's like, you're embarrassing me. And then he just keeps pulling away, running to different sets. Oh, it's dueling buckets. And then he goes, I want to live here. And he's like on his knees.
He collapses down.
He's like total fanboying about this show.
I love this set. It's very colorful and bright, and there's just all these crazy weird shapes.
Yeah.
Very Nickelodeon. It reminds me of Nickelodeon.
It is so this game show was probably modeled on a very popular Nickelodeon show of that era called Double Dare.
I remember
Double Dare,
yeah.
But for our listeners who never knew Double Dare, it was a children's game show with a lot of stunts involving a lot of slime.
Mm-hmm.
You got slimed a lot.
There was you had to slide into like whipped cream and stuff, and
just goop and all this fun stunts. Does Double Dare still? Does Nickelodeon still produce Double Dare?
I don't think they're still running it, but man, didn't you always want to go on? Like that show made me like, I want to go on and do this and do the stunts and feel like Balky's feeling right now.
And in fact, some older listeners and viewers might also think that this Risk It All game show was based on a different kids game show from Warner Brothers called Funhouse.
I don't remember Funhouse.
I don't remember Funhouse either, but apparently it was in syndication from 1988 to 1991. And in fact, Funhouse was probably based on Double Dare, which later became more popular when it moved to Nickelodeon. And
so Double Dare, also known as Super Sloppy Double Dare, there's Family Double Dare.
Yes, yeah. Oh, Family Double Dare.
Remember Family Double Dare?
There was Family Double Dare.
That ran from about 1987 to 1993, it looks like. And then there was a Double Dare 2000.
Oh, wow.
series.
They brought it back. Yeah.
And then there was a season in 2018, 2019 of Double Dare. I think that was the last time. So I don't think it's on anymore, but they tried to bring it back recently.
And apparently Bronson Pinchot and Mark Lynn Baker had even made commercials for Funhouse as Balky and Larry.
Oh, okay.
Most likely because of this episode that we're talking about right now.
Okay.
So there's a lot going on here, but basically it's this model that was popular at the time that was a game show with lots of goop and slime and schmutz. In fact, we've already seen this one stunt called Wheel of Schmutz.
I love that word, schmutz.
Schmutz,
That's a funny word.
Of course, being a Yiddish word, which comes from the same word in German, and it refers to any kind of unpleasant substance, like slime.
Schmutz is a hilarious
word. You got
word.
a little schmutz on your
And I love this
there.
whole bit because Balky now, he forgets he's on TV, and now he's running around.
It's so funny.
He sees Kelly. He goes, "Oh, Kelly, it's you. You're my favorite game show hostess.
Yeah.
Favorite. Oh, you're my favorite." He goes, "I'm so happy to meet you." And then he's like, "Oh, and just so you know, I don't believe that story about you posing for those photographs before you became a big star." He's just like airing her dirty laundry.
And they're on TV. They're on live TV.
Then Bink comes over and he's like, Bink, look at you.
Let me look at you.
He goes, "Tell me, are those your real teeth?" And Bink is like, yeah. Oh, you've never been on TV before, have you? Oh, well.
So Bink tries to lead Balky to the podium where he's supposed to stand, and then Balky sees the camera and walks right up to it and stares inside. He's like, "Hello, hi everybody," and then he sees Marianne in the audience, and he goes, "Marianne," and he like goes toward the audience with open arms to give her a hug, and then we just see him get pushed back on screen.
Throwback. It's so funny. Man, the director of this game show has got to be freaking out and yelling in Bink's ear because Bink goes, "Balky, why don't you do me a favor? Stand right here. Let me start the game, okay?"
And Larry's like, "You're embarrassing me." Anyway, they start the game. Bink says, "All right, it's time to play." And the audience goes,
Risk it all. Weird
chant.
How do you play this game?
How do you play the game? So Bink explains that Kelly will describe a stunt and then Bink will ask a question. And the contestants, Balky and Larry, can either do the stunt or answer the question. And Balky's like, "Got it," very excited. And then Larry's like, "Wait a minute. I didn't know you could also answer a question instead of the stunt," because he's like, that's perfect. We don't have to be embarrassed. We don't have to make fools of ourselves.
Balky's like, "Yeah, because nobody answers the question."
Yes.
He's like, he goes, "You can't have fun that way, Bink." Like he wants to do the stunts.
Balky wants to do the stunts. He's in love with this show. It's so much fun. And you can't blame him. They look like fun stunts. And Larry just wants to save face and get out of there and write an article. So the first stunt that they describe is the Wheel of Schmutz. And Bink does his announcer voice. He says the first stunt is the Wheel of Schmutz. "Kelly?" And then Balky says, "Oh." Before Kelly gets a chance to describe it, Balky gets all excited. He says, "I love the Wheel of Schmutz." And he starts explaining it to Cousin. There's one of these buckets comes around. There's this disgusting stuff, and you have to pick out an
Oh, boy.
And then Bink interrupts him and says, "It's Kelly's job to describe the stunts." And then Balky does this really funny thing. He says, I'm so sorry, you're right." And then he looks over, and Balky, in a Bink voice, goes, "Kelly?"
And now he's doing Bink's job, and Bink is just like, "Oh, boy." Bink gets increasingly more frustrated with these two as the episode progresses. It's so funny.
All right, now let's talk about Bink and Kelly. So Bink Warmington, I believe, was like they were trying to make this spoof of how the archetype of game show hosts of those years, right?
Yep.
That generation. And probably he was inspired by a man named Wink Martindale.
Yes, Wink Martindale, Bink Warmington. I think that tracks.
And Wink Martindale was a very famous game show host of that time.
So was Bob Goen, this guy who actually is playing Bink. And you know what?
Yeah.
I now remember where I remember him from. He was the co-host on Entertainment
That's
Tonight
right.
from 1993 to 2004. I remember him, and he's currently still hosting a game show network show.
Yeah.
That's the question.
So he was like the perfect actor
He's
to
an
play because he is an actual game show host.
He does it so good.
Yeah. And then Kelly Langston, the other
The
host,
Vanna White of the Pat
was
Sajak.
the Vanna White. Vanna White, of course, who is still on TV with Pat Sajak hosting
That is amazing.
Wheel of Fortune.
I think they're robots. Those aren't real people. Come on. They've been doing this for 40 years.
I was just watching Wheel of Fortune the other day, and they look great. They look
Those
great.
are androids. That's not real people.
I think there was a Simpsons episode about that.
They have to be.
In fact, the reference to Kelly's book might even be a reference to Vanna White's autobiography, which was very popular. It's called Vanna Speaks.
And Vanna filmed a commercial for Perfect Strangers.
Oh, that's right.
I guess at one point. So ties it all together. But yeah, she does a good Vanna White.
Yes. So it's very much, they were playing these archetypes of what game show hosts used to be at the time.
So that Larry is faced with doing messy stunts or answering a question. And he tells Bink, I get it. You do something, you get messy. What's the question? And Bink is like, the question is, which famous artist cut off his ear? And so there's two buttons. They're standing in front of a podium, right?
Yeah.
There's two big buttons. On the left, it says question underneath. On the right, it says stunt. So you got to press one of the buttons.
And of course,
and do what you press.
Balky is standing behind the question button and Larry's standing behind the stunt button. But Larry wants to hit the question button and he reaches over to hit it and Balky stops him. And Larry says, I'm going to answer the question. And Balky says, no. He's like, Bink, just let me have one moment. I think Cousin Larry's missing all the fun here, as he often does.
Yes.
He misses the fun. Or
he takes the fun out of everything. And Bink's like, okay, fellas, it's a 30-minute show.
And Larry's like, okay, no. Okay, just 1 minute. And he says to Balky, the only reason he's there is because the paper sent him. Let's just answer the questions, get some cash, and go home. No stunts.
Boo.
I can do my story, and I won't make a fool out of myself. I won't be humiliated.
Boo, Larry.
Boo earns. And so Balky, now here starts the physical comedy. Balky doesn't agree at all. And he takes it a step further. He says, I'm going to press that stunt button before you even get near the question button. And Larry's like, really, 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 really? You think so? I do. And then while they're doing this back and forth banter, Larry just reaches over and presses the question button.
I love that. He just goes, oh,
Balky's
really?
like, and he answers the question. The artist who cut off his ears, Vincent Van Gogh. And
That's
it's correct.
Right.
And they've won $25, a whole 25 big ones.
Yeah, I was surprised at the amounts. They ended up winning a lot at the end. I mean, the number goes up,
bigger.
but I'm like $25.
25.
That's what he's starting. Nowadays, these shows start at like thousands.
Yeah.
And then Bink goes, get ready, guys. Their next stunt is sit on it. And he
Kelly?
goes, Kelly? And Kelly goes over to a little pen with balloons in it, and she explains.
On the ground.
On the ground. There's filled balloons. She's like, all you have to do, break 4 little balloons by sitting on them. But surprise, the balloons are filled with whipped cream. And Bucky goes, I knew it. They're always filled with whipped cream. He loves this show.
And he's like, cousin, I'm going to do this. I want to do this stunt. And Bink was like, well, you may want to do the stunt or you may want to answer the question. And the Balky gets ready and he holds his hand over the stunt button because he's ready to. And the question is, in the Peanuts cartoon, who is always calling Charlie Brown Blockhead? And Larry, before Balky can even hit the stunt button, quickly hits the question button again, and he goes, Lucy Van Pelt. And that's correct. Now they've won $50.
I'm impressed that Larry knew Lucy's last name.
Yeah.
I did not know Lucy's last name was Van
Well,
Pelt.
he's a newspaper guy.
That's true. He is filled with lots of knowledge.
And Peanuts is probably in the newspaper.
So they won $50, and now Balky's getting really a little frustrated, a little fed up. He turns
He's
to him.
very upset.
He goes, cousin, I've tried reasoning with you. It failed. I want to do the stunt. So he goes, from here on out, it's war. I'm throwing down the cutlet.
That's our first Balkyism. Of course, he means throwing down the gauntlet.
Yeah, which is like an act of like, all right, let's duel. Right?
Yeah, and
let's
the cutlet is like a piece of meat
cutlet is
or something.
Delicious part of, is it just the chicken?
It's like a breaded meat dish.
It's a specific
cutlet.
part. Oh
Yeah.
my God, it's so funny. But great. I love how you mix that up. That's funny.
So now they're facing off, and Balky is holding his hand over the stunt button, and Larry's holding his hand over the question button, and they're facing each other. Of course, their arms are crossed because they're in front of the opposite buttons. And they're facing off, and the scene fades, and we end our Act 1.
Yeah, they're in a standoff now. It's a Quentin Tarantino standoff.
What's going to happen?
Listener, you want to get involved with the conversation? You want to include your observations from episodes of Perfect Strangers? Join our Facebook group where I post a thread of all the episodes of early, a few weeks before we record them. so you can watch and leave your comments, and we will share them at the end of the show. And you also meet other lovely Perfect Strangers, Dance of Joy listeners, and fans of Perfect Strangers, right?
Yes.
Great community.
And you get to pick apart these little details, like how did their friends get to the audience?
Yes. Wow. Who told them? How did they get there? Become an official cousin today.
Yes.
Join the Facebook group.
Okay, moving into Act 2. So we have advanced in time a little bit.
They're up to $500 now per question, which is crazy.
Yes. They're up to $500 and they're on their next round. And Bink is asking them, what's it going to be, a stunt or a question? And Balky and Larry here's where more physical comedy comes in. They start tussling. They're each trying to press the opposite the button that they want.
And stop the other one from pressing.
So they're
stop the other one from pressing the button.
And like struggling, and then finally Balky tries to press the stunt button with his face,
right? Because his arms are pinned.
And Larry grabs his head by the hair and like pushes it slowly over the question button, and then in one big instance he just pushes his face down real hard onto the question button, pushes Balky's face down.
He used his head to push the question button.
Yes,
it's fantastic.
And we haven't heard the question, but we'll get it now because we'll hear the answer. Larry says, Bink, the first man to sail around the world was Ferdinand Magellan. And, of course, that's correct. And they've won $500 now.
Okay, now the money's getting serious. And Bink goes...
Bink is getting frustrated.
Bink is getting frustrated because this is not how the show works. He goes, you're the first two contestants ever to make it to the final question here in the money round without doing a single stunt. And Balky's like, we're going to do the next stunt.
Yeah, he is determined to do a stunt.
And it's one Balky may like, Bink tells him. It's called Flying Chickens. And he turns it over to Kelly, and now it's the this one's been behind them the whole time. There's two catapults, and there's like fake rubber chickens. And Kelly explains, one of you will place the chicken in a catapult, send it flying across the stage, where the other one catches it in a bucket of barbecue sauce.
Yeah, and then she winks. she has the perfect like Vanna White type
They're
voice.
Both so cheesy.
One of you will place the chicken in a catapult. Yeah. They're very cheesy archetypes. Balky is very excited. I love flying chickens, and I'm going to do flying chickens, he says to Larry. This time he beats Cousin Larry, and he hits the stunt button, but nothing happens. And Larry very smugly is like, the button doesn't count until Bink reads the question.
Oh, man, he already knows how this game works.
So Balky then pins Larry's arms, grabs him, pins his arms, and holds him tight. And then lifts his own leg over the stunt button.
It's just hovering over the stunt button, getting ready to press it.
He's just waiting, and he's holding Larry in a bear hug, pinning his arms. And Bink is just like, who are these guys?
He's getting so irritated. It's so
All right, so then he says the next question is worth $1,000.
Big money.
Who was known as the King of Swing? And Larry, his eyes bug out because, of course, he knows the answer, but he's pinned, and Balky's got his leg hovering over the stunt button. And Larry goes, "Oh, look, Kelly fainted."
Oh, no.
Classic Larry distraction for Balky. Balky's like, "Kelly!" And he drops his leg. Oh, no. Balky says, "Kelly!" And he turns sort of his leg still up, and Larry takes his leg and drops it on the question button.
He got it again. And Bink is like, he chose the question. He's so...
And Balky is like, what the heck? He's very disappointed.
Larry answers the King of Swing is Benny Goodman. Of course, that's a correct answer, and they now have $1,000. And then Bink throws it to commercial. Yes. He goes, we'll be right back to find out if our two contestants want to keep their money and go home, or if they want to risk it all in the prize round. And then you see it cuts to like the director there by the camera. He goes, and we're out. And then immediately Bink leans forward towards the stage manager there. He goes, I want to see whoever booked these two people on my show in my dressing room now. And he storms off the back of the set. And Larry's like, Balky, did you hear that? And Balky goes, yes, I think Bink wants us back. And he's all proud of himself.
But of course, Larry heard a different thing. He's excited by the idea that they can simply quit. He didn't know that was an option.
Quit, Larry, you party pooper, Larry.
Balky doesn't want to quit, but Larry says he has everything he needs for his story, and they should just take the money and leave. And then Balky's like, quit. We've only been answering questions. We haven't done anything. We may as well be on Jeopardy. We don't have any schmutz on our jumpsuits. Jumpsuits. Cousin, I want to do stunts and win big prizes.
Oh, this is so funny.
And then we get some Larry splaining.
Some Larry mind messing psychology here.
Splaining.
As Larry goes, there it is. And Bucky's like, there what is? And Larry explains how they suck you in. Big prizes. They depend on the most basic of all human failings.
And Balky goes, bad posture?
Larry goes, greed. He goes, they show you something every poor gullible slob wants, like a large screen, big screen TV.
And Balky's like, a big screen TV, a big screen. Oh, cousin, let's risk it all. Please.
He listens, he jumps and spins around. And he's
he's jumping like a child.
Yeah. And Balky's like, Balky, it's happening already. And Bucky goes, what's happening? Larry tells him it's the greed monster.
And Balky goes, where?
He looks around first. He just slowly looks back where he goes, where? Larry says, inside you.
And Balky says, inside me? Like alien?
Oh, my God. So that's great. He mentions alien, and suddenly Larry's mind starts working fast. He goes, yes. He goes, yes. It starts deep inside you. And then Bink feeds it by letting you win enough until the greed takes over. Bucky's like, no. And you lose control, Larry says. And Bucky goes, no. And he's looking down at his gut where the greed monster is. And then Larry goes, and then Kelly feeds it even more by showing you bigger and bigger prizes. And the greed grows and more until finally, and then Larry by the way, Balky's jumpsuit is wide open.
Yeah.
He's got a tank top, lots of chest hair.
Lots of chest hair
on the BP. So he's wearing this tank top. Larry grabs the tank top underneath and pulls it out like an alien. Like there's an alien coming out of him. And he's like, it's coming. And he goes, and Balky starts freaking out. And then Larry grabs him, pulls him close, and hugs him real quick. It's so funny.
It looks
like the alien bit. He pulls his fingers, and then grabs him and pats him on the head. He's like, oh, it's okay, Balky.
And Balky's very confused now because he says, why would Bink and Kelly do something like that to me? And Larry's explaining. He says, they're part of the system. They can't help it. And then Balky says, but cousin, how could the greed monster get me? I'm not a greedy person. And Larry goes, oh, no. And they go, no. And then all of a sudden he does the T-shirt thing again and makes it move around and growls. And Balky starts screaming again. Ah!
And then he pulls him in close again and hugs him and taps him on the back. Of course, this is we met the great movie Alien from 1979, the first one.
Yes. It's a sci-fi horror film for you young people who haven't seen it. Please see it.
I mean, this is an iconic scene of the alien popping out. Spoilers. You've never seen this,
John Hurt's
45-year-old movie.
Has a baby alien growing inside of him, and then it comes out of his chest.
The first movie's great. The second movie's amazing too.
Yeah.
The first two Alien movies are so good. But the effect is great when he's pulling his shirt and just to freak Balky out. And Larry goes, Balky, it's not too late. I'll save you. He goes, when Bink comes back out here now, he's going to tempt you with some fantastic prizes. But you have to stay strong.
And then they both breathe in and puff out their chests.
He goes, you have to resist. Together. Remember, just say no. So Larry now is telling Balky, Bink's going to come out, show you some prizes. Just say no, okay?
Okay, here's another reference for our younger listeners. Just Say No was a big deal in the 80s and 90s. Yep. It was the campaign slogan, Nancy Reagan's anti-drug, war on drugs campaign slogan. And there was this whole campaign for targeting children.
That's right. Just
say no. When you're offered drugs, just say no.
Predates even, I think, the DARE program, right? And then DARE came along later, and that kind of reminds me of the same thing. But just say no. Yes, Nancy Reagan. Bucky's like, got it. I'll be a strong cousin. And Bink comes back. And I love Bink because he walks out, he's all mad, and then he just snaps into game show.
Well, we're back.
He's game show mode.
Yeah. And so he tells the audience, he hypes up the audience. The big question is now, will Larry and Balky keep their $1,000 or are they going to? And the audience goes, risk it all.
Well, this audience has had a stroke. That's the only thing I can think of. Why would you chant it like that?
So then he's going to show them what they're playing for.
What's behind the curtain?
And he leads yeah, they go across the stage. There's a curtain. And as they're going across the stage, Larry says, Balky, remember, be strong. And Balky says, just say no. Just say no. Balky would be great if he was offered drugs. Just say no. So they pull the curtain aside, and what do they see? An amazing, shiny, sparkly, beautiful red convertible
sports car
with Kelly in a red sequined 80s big shouldered dress sitting on it, like a model. Bink says, it's a brand new sports car. Kelly, tell them about it. And Kelly goes, my pleasure, Bink. It comes equipped with all the luxuries, including air conditioning, CD player, and cellular car phone. Cellular car phone.
First of all, yes, CD player and cellular car.
CD player was a big deal in 89. Yeah. That was early. It was pretty advanced.
So I had to just look that up. The CD, first introduced in North America, 1983, 39 years ago.
It was definitely around, but it was very early. It wasn't mainstream. Yeah.
But cellular phone is obviously it's going to be one of those giant brick phones with the cord.
I remember those
in the 89.
In the cars. Yeah.
So this is a kind of an advanced car, and now this might get Larry. You know how he is with his cars. He loves his cars, doesn't he?
They could have this sports car if they're willing to risk it all. Bink says, guys, what's it going to be? Are you going to risk it all? What do you think, audience? What should they do? And the audience, of course, is like, risk it all, risk it all.
They are bloodthirsty, this audience.
But Balky has taken Larry's splaining to heart, and he starts to tell Bink that they're going to be strong and they're going to, and Larry cuts him off and like screams, risk it all. And then he's like,
You see Larry break down in a second.
And Bronson Pinchot is laughing so hard because Larry's freaking out, risk it all. And he's completely gone. He saw that sports car. And the greed monster, the greed monster
takes him, and he didn't put up much of a fight, really.
He's jumping up and down.
He's freaking
squealing.
out. He's lost it.
Yeah,
it's so funny. And then we cut to the audience for
this is a weird
couple of quick jokes. They cut to Harriet and Lydia, and Lydia's like, talk about style. Harriet's like, yeah, that's some car. And Lydia's like, the car's nice, but I was talking about Bink.
Oh, gosh.
And then it cuts over to Jennifer and Marianne, and Jennifer's like, isn't this great? And Marianne's like, yeah, but do you think you could get a different car? I don't look good in red. Just assuming she's going to be riding around with Balky in the sports car.
Yes. So then we cut back to the stage to Balky and Larry.
Larry is now broken down, man, and completely into it and bug-eyed.
Yeah.
For the rest of this whole thing.
Bink is like hyping them up, hyping up the audience. You guys ready to risk it all for this car? And Larry's like, give me the question and give me the car. And Balky, who's still, taking the earlier lesson to heart, is saying, but cousin, we can lose all the money. And Bink says, well, you may not want to answer the question this time. You may want to try this very easy stunt.
Oh, easy
Kelly.
stunt.
And so they tell us the stunt first. And the stunt is something called dueling buckets.
Dueling buckets.
And Kelly starts to explain, but Larry quickly cuts her off. He's like, the question, the question.
Larry's gone mental.
He doesn't care about the stunt. He's like, what's the question? And so Bink reads the question, whose picture was on the $10,000 bill? And Larry immediately hits the question button and screams, Salmon P. Chase. And Bink is like, unbelievable. He like can't believe this. He's like, that's absolutely right. They've won the car.
Oh my God.
They've won the car. And Larry freaks out. He's like so happy.
Hold on. How did he know? Who is Sam and Pete Chase?
It was on the $10,000 bill, apparently.
I've never seen a $10,000 bill. I don't know how has Larry ever seen a $10,000 bill?
Larry's a nerd.
Sam and Pete Chase, 6th Chief Justice of the United States.
There you go.
He wasn't ever a president. He was a politician, governor of Ohio. But okay, and he was also the Secretary of the Treasury.
Yeah.
Okay, the 25th. All right, Sam and Pete Chase. That was one I did not know.
I didn't know that.
Right? You learn things in this show.
They won the car, though.
And they actually won the sports car, which is insane.
And then Balky is like relieved because now all that stress was on Balky because he
balloons
wants
fall from the sky, don't they, after they win the car? So there's like balloons everywhere.
And then Balky is so relieved and he tries to get Larry to like, all right, they have the car. Let's go. Let's quit. Bink, however, is like, wait, don't go yet. And then we hear a siren because it's time for the bonus round. And then the balloons drop. And Larry is like super excited. And he's like, it's the bonus round. It's the bonus round. So they've like flip-flopped now, right?
Yes,
Larry's totally into it.
It's great.
And Balky wants
Balky's
to
trying
leave.
to hold him back. Yeah.
And he's still saying, be careful, cousin. We could lose everything.
And Larry's just like, what's the bonus prize?
The bonus prize.
And what is the bonus prize? It's a cruise around the world.
Oh,
says as
God.
Kelly comes out of the back holding a cruise ship cutout.
Yeah.
And she's moving, waving it around and walking around him. And they're like, oh, God. And Balky's worried. And
Balky's like covering Larry's eyes.
Larry is losing it.
And not only is it a cruise around the world, but it's a cruise in style because it comes with $25,000 in cash.
And Bink goes to the audience. Now, what should they do, audience?
And they all go, risk it all.
And instantly Larry's like, we'll risk it all. And Balky's like, no, we won't. Larry goes, yes, we will.
No, we won't.
And they go back and forth. And then Larry finally grabs Balky's head and smushes it against his chest, covering his mouth.
Yeah.
And he goes, we'll risk it all to Bink. And Bink goes, they're going to risk it all.
And the audience goes nuts. Woo! And then Larry lets go of Balky, and Balky steps up to Bink and he says, I know you can't help yourself, but you're really starting to flee and tick me off.
Oh, my God. First of all, Balky is turning on Bink, who he loves so much, and watching the show.
Yes.
And second of all, they're kind of
flip-flop.
They're kind of reusing a joke. They're kind of reusing some lines.
They did flee
Remember
and tick.
the bomb when he's like, she dropped a bomb on me.
Flea and tick
And he
bomb.
goes, was it a flea and tick bomb?
Yeah, that's right. And that was recent, too.
That was very recent. I think it was like 2 episodes ago. That's fine.
Flea and tick me off.
A flea and tick joke. Twice.
Like I said, the wordplay is a little weak in this episode, but the physical comedy, which is coming up, is fantastic.
So Bink explains for them to keep the car, keep all the cash, win the trip. They're going to either have to answer this question or do all the stunts they passed on and another stunt on the way to the bonus round. And this is so bizarre.
Bobbing for bananas.
Bobbing for bananas.
And this is really weird. This is like trippy
This is amazing.
drug weird. So then when she says bobbing for bananas, these two women step out in banana costumes, like stocking, like pantyhose, and
so their legs are exposed. The costume starts from their waist up.
Walking bananas,
but they're not just any walking bananas. They're half peeled bananas with eyelashes, giant red lips,
and their arms are sticking out
in the peel. And it's the most disturbing, nightmarish thing I've ever seen. I was like,
and they have nothing to do with the stunt. They're not involved in the stunt. They're just like mascots.
I'm like, I'll kill the bananas. They're coming to get you. Oh, it's so frightening, but also really funny.
All right, so here comes the question. So they have to do either the question or all the stunts plus bobbing for bananas. And the question is,
this
and
is
then
a great
Bink
bit too.
goes to read the question. He's got these like a stack of index cards that he's reading off of, and he looks at the first question and he tosses it aside. He's looking for a hard question, and then he tosses the second one aside. And then on the third one, he's like, "Oh, I got one."
Then he smiles. Devilishly. Bink, I think this is you breaking the rules here a little bit. I don't think you're allowed to do this. Imagine if Alex Trebek went around just cherry picking.
They probably do, but you can't do it so obviously in front of everyone.
Based on how much the contestants annoy you.
Okay, here comes the question.
Bink's found the hard question to really get them.
And the question is, what land did the Roman Emperor Claudius annex in 43 AD?
Wow.
And Larry goes, oh my Lord.
Larry's panicking. You could tell. I don't think he knows this one. He says he doesn't know this one. But in the meantime, Balky is thinking.
Yeah.
He's twiddling his fingers. He's thinking about something. But before Balky can do or say anything, Larry says, I don't know the answer. We're going to have to do the stunts. And he slams on the stunt button. Larry actually hit the stunt
Bink
button.
Runs with it. They're going to do the stunts. And then we hear Balky say, cousin, why did you do that? The answer is Great Britain.
Oh, my God.
And Larry's like, Great Britain. The answer is Great Britain. And Bink's like, good answer, right answer, but a late answer. You already chose the stunts.
Oh, no. And Larry's like, what do you mean a late answer? I'm impressed that Balky knew that one. He has been going to night school.
Of course.
Did you know that one?
I did not know that.
No, there's a couple of the questions I did not know. So anyways, it's too late. They've locked in the stunt, not just any
Larry's
stunt.
like, I want that trip.
They have to do all the stunts. And Bink explains, gentlemen, you have 3 minutes. And if they don't complete all the stunts before the buzzer sounds, they will lose the car, they lose the trip, they lose everything, they lose the cash. And then he goes, but to make sure you make it from one stunt to another in style.
Is so weird, too.
He goes, you'll be riding the Risk It All commode cab. And Kelly rolls out a toilet on a red tiled platform with safety bars. There is a cover on the toilet seat. And there is a box of Kleenex on top of the tank of this toilet seat that she's rolling out.
Yeah. So they have to ride this, like someone has to push the other person around from stunt to stunt on this toilet commode cab, they call it. And Kelly, in her Kelly voice, goes, that's right, Bink. It's an American Imperial Whisper Flush with a patent cushion seat. Compliments of Cunningham Hardware, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
So I caught on to this right away.
Yeah.
Did you catch on to this? This
Cunningham Hardware.
From Happy Days. The family owned the hardware show.
Yes, the Cunningham
shop
family.
In Milwaukee, Cunningham Hardware.
And
it's a Happy Days reference.
Of course, we know that the producers of Perfect Strangers, Tom Miller and William Buckley and Michael Warren, had all worked on Happy Days.
Yeah, the minute I heard Cunningham, I'm like, oh, it's a Happy Days. That was their store.
And it was, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Yeah, so crossover. Okay, are they ready? So they are ready. The Banana Ladies lead
Banana
Larry
ladies.
and
There are
Balky
banana ladies in this.
to the commode cab. So Balky's going to be pushing it, and
Larry's riding
riding
the
on
passenger.
it. And Bink says, ready, set, go.
And now there is a rapid fire physical comedy.
Yeah, the rest of this episode
incoming.
mostly is all physical comedy.
But there's like there's running gags in it too. I don't know if you caught. We'll see. There's a couple of great running gags. So the says go. Balky is pushing Larry to the first stunt, which is
sit on it.
Which is sit
They
on
have
it.
to sit on the balloons on the ground and break 4 of them between the two of them. They have to break 4 balloons. The balloons, of course, are filled with whipped cream.
So this joke is great because they do 4 real quick. Bink is counting it down, and Larry gets up to go on the commode cab, but Balky's having so much fun he doesn't want to get up. He keeps popping balloons because he's
and
like,
their butts are covered in whipped cream now.
Larry finally grabs Balky and jumps. He doesn't get to sit on it this time. He falls over.
He horizontal.
Across
He's like
his
on
belly
his
down.
belly.
Yes,
Yeah.
across the toilet as Balky's pushing him, right?
And then Balky pushes him like at the next stunt, but his head,
Which is dueling buckets.
Yeah, but Larry's head hits the side of the
the dueling buckets
because he's lying across the commode that way, the toilet. So, anyways, dueling buckets is like one of those carnival games where you have to throw
a beanbag at a target.
In this case, it's a beanbag at a target,
like a dunk tank.
Like a dunk tank.
Yeah,
but it's not a dunk tank. If you hit the target, like some goop falls on the person. So Balky is the person inside, and Larry throws one beanbag and misses, but then the next 2 are like spot on. He hits both targets, one side and then the other side, and 2 sides of goop fall on him.
So this is all live.
And it's live.
It's not CGI.
So Marklin Baker has a good arm.
He had to hit those shots, and he does it. He goes boom, boom, and it's so funny. The buckets fall, and Balky is just ecstatic that he's getting slived. He's so happy.
I wonder if they practiced that, or like I was watching real close, and it was him.
I guess they could have pulled it if it got close, right?
No, it was a quick throw.
No, he hit it both times. He actually hit it with the beanbag. That was impressive.
So I don't know how they did that, or if they just practiced, or if he's just good at aim. And
so
pitching.
here's the beginning of this first running joke. Balky is covered in slime, and he's so happy. And instead of getting back to the commode cab, he starts to run over to Bink, wanting to hug him. And Bink is like, get away.
Yeah.
Like he warns him very sternly. So
because he's covered in goop. And
there's
Bink's
a running gag
suit.
where Balky is trying to get both of them dirty.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens. It's really funny.
We'll see.
Right?
Okay, so Larry's on the cab. Balky pushes it to the next stunt, which is Wheel of Schmutz.
I love Wheel of Schmutz.
and Larry's like trying to hurry, and he's doing this like bounce on the seat. It's so funny. He's like,
he's sitting normally and bouncing, and then Balky stops and he flies off forward.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Each ride he's doing something different, which is fantastic.
So funny.
So Bink explains Wheel of Schmutz. It's this platform with these large containers filled with colored goo, and it spins. They got to reach in there, grab the necklaces.
There's necklaces inside these buckets of
four
goop.
necklaces as the bucket spins. So the bucket starts spinning, and they're grabbing things, and they're getting messy.
Yeah, and they finally get four.
They very quickly get four,
but
and
they're
they can
getting
move on.
all the goop and schmutz all over themselves as they put on these necklaces. And
So they
get
do this
four.
one very quickly. It's time to get back to the commode cab, and this time Larry takes a position I'm sure many of us might have been in some time of our life. It is the kneeling over the toilet, I have to vomit, hurl position as he's breathing hard, but he's literally riding the white elephant, as they say, as Balky pushes them to the next stunt.
Which is flying chickens.
Flying chickens. I love
That's
flying
with
chickens.
the catapults and the catching it in the barbecue sauce. So Larry grabs a bucket of barbecue sauce, and I don't think it's barbecue sauce because it's very liquidy.
It's very liquidy and thin.
So it's like this big rectangular bucket, and
with red fluid.
He goes a little bit back, and Balky, stomps on one of the catapults. The rubber chicken flies up, straight up in the air, and Larry catches it actually in the bucket.
Right, on the first go.
And the barbecue sauce, splatters all over. But then we hear Bink in the background saying, one each.
They got to switch.
So they have to switch. So then Balky grabs a bucket of barbecue sauce, and Larry catapults the chicken, but Balky misses it the first time.
He misses the first one.
He catches it
then Larry
the second time.
And another one, and Larry catches it. What you'll notice, both of the chicken catches, the chicken hit something. It hit a light in the set and then dropped straight down.
Yeah, probably.
Again, I don't think that was planned.
Yeah, and I don't think miss was probably not planned either.
No, but that was two freak accidents because they had lobbed it too far. But unless they had a board there, you could tell it hit something and then it drops right down.
Live, I mean, they were probably trying to do this in one take because, of course, it's mess involved.
We should time and see if it's really 3 minutes, too.
It's, in fact, not 3 minutes.
Oh, okay, we'll get to that.
Yes.
But they're doing all of this stuff rapid fire live. It's really impressive.
Yeah, it's really impressive. And who knows? They might have done it. I really doubt they did more than one take because they'd have to get all cleaned up.
Right.
Set all cleaned up.
And they have to reset all the balloons and all the stunts.
Yeah.
So that was the main stunts. They got to do the bonus stunts. And Balky is pushing Larry on the commode. And this time Larry is sitting on the commode all like casual. He's got his legs crossed.
And Balky is like slipping and sliding.
Larry's
having
like playing with his hair. He's looking at his nails like he's bored.
He's
it's
tired.
so funny. He's so tired. And they get to bobbing for bananas, which is on a table. There's a large square
tank of fudge.
Apparently, it's pudding. It's fudge. There's bananas in there.
They have to pull out 4 bananas without using their hands.
Before they start again, though, Balky tries to run over and hug Kelly, and she throws up her arms. She's like, "No, get away!"
And prior to that, he had tried to. After he caught the chicken and the barbecue sauce,
he was going to give it to Bink.
He tries to give it to Bink,
and Bink's like, "Don't give me that! Get away!" Right? So they're trying to get him dirty. Hasn't happened yet.
So now Balky and Larry are standing behind this tank of fudge, and Bink is standing right next to them in his still clean, nice suit. And Balky and Larry are covered in all the schmutz, and they stick their faces into the fudge.
What are the rules? Bobbing for apples. You can't use your hands.
Yeah.
You got to go down and pull out 4 bananas with your teeth.
And they only have 30 seconds left or whatever, something ridiculous. So they both stick their faces, their hands are behind their back in this fudge, and they're looking. And the first one, Balky pulls one out and
he flings it towards Bink. But nothing happens.
Nothing happens. Bink steps out of the way. And then Larry flings one the other side. Right. On the third one, it's Balky again. And he aggressively with his face flings it towards Bink and it hits him right smack in the crotch.
This time it hits him on his jacket.
Right in the crotch area. And there's all this chocolate on it.
This looks so real.
I think it was probably
annoyed.
Yeah.
He goes, "Oh, he got 3." He's really annoyed that he got something on his suit. I think this was
it was unscripted, and Bronson Pinchot just tried to get him dirty the whole time.
I think BP was messing with them so hard, and he's like, I bet before they shot this, he's like, "I'm gonna get you dirty.
Yeah,
you watch." And Bob Goen is like, "This is a nice suit. Don't you dare do that." And I think he got, because you can see the dejection in Bink's. That's real.
That
was real. That was not acting.
He got banana. He got fudged.
It was so funny.
And so they have 3, and they just need 1 more, but the time is running out.
No.
And then the whole audience starts counting down the last 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3. And then the buzzer sounds, and then they ran out of time. They lost everything.
Oh, no.
And Balky lifts his face out. It's covered in fudge. And he hears them say, "You're all out of time. You lose everything."
He's a mess. Larry has not stopped bobbing.
Still bobbing,
Yes.
face in the fudge. Balky grabs him by the back of his head or the jumpsuit collar, pulls his face out of the fudge, and he says, "Cousin, time's up." And Larry goes, "I can't lose. I want that trip," and sticks his face back into the fudge. And then he pulls him out again. He says, "Cousin, it's over. We lost everything."
Then Larry collapses a third time.
Into the fudge.
This time out of desperation, I think, and just dejection.
And then Bink hypes them up. Weren't they great? And the audience cheers them on again.
How long was this 3-minute bonus
3 minutes was, in fact, in real time, 2 minutes and 38 seconds.
Oh, man.
Very close.
Very close. It seemed like, yeah.
But, we have
close.
to edit for the show. Like, even in the
shopping spree.
episode.
I thought that was actual time, that it was the right time in that one. I don't know. No, it might have been under.
I don't think that was the
Of
actual
course.
time
Yeah,
either.
nobody's timing.
So,
yes, they lose.
they lost everything. They lost the
Everything.
car.
They
They lost the
risked it all.
$1,000. They lost the cruise around
about
the
right.
world,
Seems
the
about right.
25 grand, everything. So we cut to the next scene, and they're back in their apartment. They're cleaned up now.
Yeah, they're cleaned up.
They, come to the couch to debrief or whatever.
I love
they
Larry.
do.
Larry is in denial, and he's
Larry's
just
in
like,
denial. He's trying to make himself feel
"Hey,
better.
Balky." He's like, "So we didn't win the big prize. The important thing is I got everything I need for my article. Hey, I'm a reporter. I had a job to do, and I did it. I should be proud of myself. I should feel good."
And Balky goes, "But you feel like schmutz."
And then Larry just breaks down and starts to cry. He goes,
And then he becomes his whiny Larry
I
again.
could have had a trip around the world.
I could have had a sports car. I look good in a sports car. And he's like whining and crying. And Balky's like, "It's all right. This will pass." And Larry goes, "But I wanted to win."
Oh, he's whiny Larry.
And then we hear our lesson time music. So we know it's lesson time.
What's the lesson here?
And this time it's Balky delivering the lesson to Larry. And he says, "We didn't lose everything. We got to go on television. We got to stick our heads in chocolate fudge. You got to ride around on a toilet." And Larry's like, "And that's a good thing?" And Balky says, "It is a good thing. It's good to let your hair fall out once in a while." Of course, he means it's good to let your hair down, as in relax, enjoy yourself.
Listen, it's not good when your hair falls out.
No,
Get
it's
that
not
checked
good to let your
quickly.
hair fall out.
But again, this is similar to like the Vegas lesson.
Yes.
Like Larry
needs
can't
to
have
have
fun.
fun.
He doesn't know how to have fun. Yes.
So then Larry says, "Well, it was kind of fun when those chickens were flying." And Balky says, "Bobbing for bananas was a blast." There's our alliteration. And then Larry says, "If I just had 5 more seconds, I could have gotten that last banana." And Balky, of course, says, "There's one way to find out." And they look at and he does this like eyebrow raising thing, like, And they look at each other. And the final line of the episode, Larry says, "I'll get the bananas. You fill the sink with chocolate fudge."
Oh, no.
And then
And
they
they
split,
run.
and the episode ends. But here's my problem with lesson time. Once again, as in previous episodes recently, they have missed the bigger lesson. The bigger lesson being that the greed monster that Larry cautioned Balky against was actually in Larry. Larry ended up with the greed monster.
The lesson should have been, cousin, the greed monster is in all of us.
Yes.
And you got to
The
look
greed
out for
monster.
him.
But it is a lesson about having fun. But I feel like they didn't address like the greed monster at the end when it was such a big deal.
Yeah, the severe flip of Larry Appleton.
Yeah. So that's where our episode ends, and roll credits.
Listener, check out our TeePublic shop. You can get some cool Dance of Joy swag, t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, cell phone cases with our lovely logo on it. Just go to danceofjoypod.com/shop. We'll get you there. There's a link in the show description. You know what? I did enjoy this episode. I don't remember this one at all.
Yeah, I don't remember. I didn't remember this one either.
I kind of love the setup of them. They take us through all the stunts first. They introduce them without doing them, and then the cousins have to do all of them.
Yeah, that was a good,
well structured, and like that the one take of them doing everything,
amazing,
hitting the targets, messing with Bob Goen, getting him dirty, riding the commode different ways.
Yeah,
and catching all the things all in like look like one take because like we said they have to clean up. That was great. That's masterful.
It was amazing. Again, this episode was light on the wordplay, which I love all the wordplay in this show. This had very few sort of verbal jokes. Some of them felt a bit forced just to add something in there, but very few. But very heavy on physical comedy. And again, I didn't remember this either, but I did love it just for that sort of reminiscence about those games that we used to watch all the time. And, we all dreamed of going on Double Dare and Family Double Dare.
All the game shows.
Fun.
You're like, I could do that. Price is Right. Come on
Yeah,
now.
but the messy ones, the ones with
messy
the
ones
slime.
were fun. Yes.
So just the nostalgia about that was
and I thought it was
fun.
smart. Like the quick setup on top gave you a lot of time to shoot on this game show set and really set it up.
Again, we're missing like some backstory. You could have been wondering like, why did the investigative reporting team get invited on this silly game show?
It's for the Sunday supplement. I don't know. Yes.
But why? That's not their beat to cover. It would be like
Mushmouth and Pole Vault don't care about this.
It would be like a features team or something.
That's a good question.
But it worked for the setup. Larry wants to please because he wants to be on that team. So he's like, of course he'll do it. Why they have to be there in 30 minutes or why there was such short notice, who knows?
But they were like, you guys get messy, slip around, have fun. It'll be great. And they do all that well. They do all the heavy lifting. What did our listeners think of this one, sister?
All right. Our listeners had some comments. First up, we have cousin Lauren Miller, who accurately says this feels like a combination of Double Dare and Funhouse.
Oh, there you go.
Ding, ding, ding.
That's the two comparisons and
Very
inspirations.
on point, cousin Lauren. And then we have cousin Pam Hitchcock, who had many things to write. She writes, what an episode. We have classic Larry, classic Balky, classic Bronson Pinchot, Mark Lynn Baker chemistry.
Yes.
Superb physical comedy and lots of it. I rate this episode 9.9 Bibi Bobkas.
That's a lot of Bibi Bobkas there.
She also writes, the actors playing the host and hostess were excellent. In fact, Bob Goen hosted various game shows in the 80s. Too many to mention here. Oh, I guess he hosted a lot. He may be more recognizable as co-host of Entertainment Tonight with Mary Hart back in the 90s and early 2000s.
Mary Hart. That's the other one.
Yes.
I remember Mary Hart. Yeah.
And here's my favorite comment from our listeners, also from cousin Pam. Have y'all been noticing Marianne's hair getting poofier all season? She now has bigger hair than Jennifer.
She does. I didn't notice, but it's huge here. And it's like just wider and rounder.
It's just getting big.
It's quite teased. So I think slowly she's she'll just be hair.
Yeah.
Just hair. You can't even see her face. Don't be ridiculous was not said.
Of course I have. Don't be ridiculous.
And also, we have no Dimitri in this
they
episode.
were briefly in the apartment at the end.
There was
could've
such
put
a great
something
opportunity to have Dimitri in a jumpsuit covered in schmutz or
in
like
slime or like some kind of game
like
show
in a
aspect.
sports car, a red convertible, or on a cruise boat. Yeah. There were so many opportunities for Dimitri there. So, but we didn't have it.
We haven't had Dimitri in a couple episodes. Maybe he'll be back.
Where is
next
Dimitri?
episode.
Now it's time for the segment of our show that we call Perfect Strangers Today, in which we discuss if we were to redo this episode today in 2022, what things would be different, what things would be the same. Do you have any thoughts?
Well, there's still game shows.
But are there messy game shows?
There's not on like network TV. I feel like the fun game shows is on Netflix because Netflix will just throw anything at the wall and make the craziest things. Like the last one I saw that was messy was The Floor is Lava.
Floor is Lava.
That was fun. And that was another show that now as an adult, I was like, I totally would do this.
Yeah, dude.
I would do this in a second. I'm going to go on this show, Floor is Lava.
So that's what I wrote down for PS today. What game shows would Larry and Balky have to go on today? Would it be Naked and Afraid?
Oh, that would be funny.
Amazing Race. That's a good partner
That would
show.
be fun.
American Ninja Warrior.
I would pay to see Balky and Larry go through a Ninja Warrior course.
Floor is Lava. And of course, everyone's recent favorite from Netflix, Is It Cake?
Is It Cake?
Can you imagine Balky and Larry on Is It Cake?
I keep talking about this show.
I love this show.
But they would have to know how to bake. And maybe Larry works for like the culinary section of the paper, and that gets sent
And
out
maybe
an assignment.
Balky makes a cake that looks like a sheep. And
Yes.
he's like, no,
Balky's
it's
picked up a hobby of making cake look like things.
but it's all Meposian
Yes,
things.
it's all
like,
sheep and
or like the
King
Christmas
Ferdinand.
turtle.
Yes, the Christmas turtle. Pig snout.
Is
this
it
a pig
cake?
snout? Is it cake? No, is it pig snout? Is it cake? But yeah, you have
Pig
to.
snout cake.
Game
yes.
shows are a little bit more extreme, and but you know, you also had your American Gladiator back in the day.
Yeah.
Remember that show?
But
They could have
which
done something
shows
with that.
would
They don't
make
have
for the
Double
most
Dare.
physical comedy? Maybe Floor is Lava or Ninja Warrior.
Or all the other silly game shows on Netflix that they have. Ninja Warrior would be hilarious. They would hurt themselves.
Yeah, they would, but they would be in it for the money. But it would have to be a show that involves questions and stunts.
And stunts, right.
Um,
See,
I don't think we have anything like that anymore.
Because
Yeah.
on Double Dare, you'd be like, "I'll take the dare" or whatever.
yeah.
But they should bring those back.
So yeah, the point of this whole podcast is we need to bring back Double Dare. I have a friend who works at Nickelodeon. I could talk to him.
Oh, there you
about
go. Get it done.
We need Double Dare
Have your
back.
people talk to our
Double Dare
people.
2022.
Their people. I wanna get
starring podcast co-hosts as contestants.
How about Podcast Double Dare? They haven't done that yet.
Pod Dare, Double Pod Dare,
Double cast.
Double Cast
That makes no sense.
Pod Dare,
What?
Double Podcast Dare, Double Cast Pod Dare.
Aside from that, you just got to find a situation, like you said, that makes for good physical comedy.
Physical comedy and mess and
messiness and
Greed Monster.
Greed Monster.
So Greed Monster could be like, again, this show's not on anymore, but Who Wants to Be a Millionaire
Oh.
was kind of poked at people's greed monsters.
Yeah, because you could always just leave or keep going.
And then, of course, some of the jokes in this episode would be rewritten because, of course, you could get your friends there in 30 minutes if you had a cell phone or something, but they didn't have that.
You got to get
just
tickets
call
for
them on
these
the
things.
way.
They don't got room. I don't know.
You get comp tickets. But they could have called them on the way, which, of course, is maybe what he did in the early version of the script, but from a payphone. And what else? Yeah, I don't know. You would publicize it on your Instagram and all this stuff.
Oh, yeah, you'd be posting live video from, I'm
Yeah.
at the game show.
But everything else, like the host and hostess, Pat Sajak and Vanna White are still doing their thing on TV. They're still known characters.
Yeah, that's still a thing, surprisingly. Like, it was almost not that cartoony.
Maybe Balky and Larry would go on Wheel of Fortune, and Balky would keep guessing like the wrong phrases, right? Like throw down the cutlet.
Yes, he would just get the one obvious word wrong. That happens to regular people. There's
That's
that clip
true.
out there that you
It's
can figure out the
It's
really,
so funny.
really simple things.
Come on, people. All right. That's all we have for Perfect Strangers today. It would still hold up. It's a funny little physical comedy episode. Join us next week when Balky flies in an airplane for the first time.
wow.
Balky's first flight.
Oh, well, you got to imagine Jennifer and Marianne will be involved as they are flight attendants.
That's right.
And their significant others. That should be lots of fun.
Because remember, Balky came, we'll talk about this more next week, but he didn't fly to America.
No, he took a bullet. Boat
And a
to a
tram-
bus, to a
and a
bus, to a train.
tram.
And a tram.
Tram.
Oh, yeah, tram,
Bus,
to
bus,
boat, bus.
Yes.
That's how you got there. So that'll be great. In the meantime, listener, if you want to support this endeavor, support the show, we do have a Buy Me a Coffee button on our website, danceandjoypod.com/support. We'll get you there, and you can buy us virtual coffees.
And this past week, we have been gifted the most coffees ever.
Oh, my God, ever. It was amazing.
Our listeners bought us 15 coffees this week.
We got to say, we got some huge thank yous. First of all,
Thank you.
thank you to Laura Fu for buying us 5 coffees.
5 coffees. We're very caffeinated. And the wonderful note you left us, Laura. Laura writes, I have watched and rewatched a lot of TV during the pandemic, but your podcast has added new and fun perspective to one of my favorite shows from my childhood. Thank you.
That's so
no,
nice.
Thank you, Laura Fu.
And then you heard of him, recent Facebook group member. We read his comment last week. John Corbett, not the actor.
John Corbett was great in Sex and the City.
John Corbett, the podcast listener. He bought us 10 coffees, which is the most anyone has ever bought us. So that you get something. What am I got? I got to give him something.
Cousins should joke more.
Yes, they should. Thank you so much, Cousin John Corbett. Cousin John writes, Perfect Strangers is my all-time favorite show. Thank you both for doing this classic show justice. Thank you, John Corbett.
Thank you, John,
we really appreciate you.
Enjoying this crazy little project. Listener, be like John and Laura. Visit our website. Get us some virtual coffees. We will thank you and do the dance of joy in your honor.
We'll be very caffeinated when we do
very
it.
Caffeinated.
But if you can't afford to buy us a coffee, that's perfectly okay, too. You can instead go to the danceofjoypod.com website, and there you will find all the links to where our show is available. You can like, subscribe, leave us a rating, leave us a review. You can press a little button and leave us a voice message. Tell us what you think. Say hi. Tell us what's going on in your week. Did you get any schmutz on you this week? But if you're too shy, you can send us an old-fashioned email at danceofjoypod@gmail.com and share your thoughts with us that way. You can find all of our social media links on the website, too. You can follow us on our journey to spread the Perfect Strangers love to everyone in the world. And most importantly, Imran, what can our listeners do?
Make sure you always form your answer in the shape of a question.
In the shape.
Form question. Answer your form in the question of a shape. Shape your question in the form of an answer.
Something like that.
The most important thing is to make sense when words come out of your mouth and to share the show.
Share the show with a friend.
Spread the joy. Spread the dancing.
Share Perfect Strangers and share this podcast, Dance of Joy Pod, with a friend or a stranger or whoever provides you your schmutz, your schmutz supplier.
Your schmutz dealer.
Your schmutz dealer. Share the show with your schmutz dealer.
Thank you for listening so much, and now we are so happy.
Now we are so happy we do the dance of joy.
Hey, 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 hey.